Good morning. I wanted to come on here and talk about time. So, a few days ago, I had posted that time is more valuable than money because money comes and goes, it ebbs and flows. There's plenty of it out there for everyone. But time, we all have the same amount of time, 24 hours in a day. Um, and a lot of times, people, moms especially, I've noticed with my clients and my patients that their biggest excuse is that they don't have time. And that's for really for all of us. I use that a lot. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't have the time to do that. But the truth is, if it was a priority, we would make the time. So I wanted to get you guys to start thinking when you are about to say that you don't have time to do something, instead of saying that you don't have time, say that's not a priority for me. Because really, when you think about it, like really, really successful people, they they have the same amount of time that any of us have. And they have a lot of stuff going on and they get stuff done. And that's because they learn to manage their activities and manage their priorities. And so I want you to really get to start thinking about, do I not have the time or is it not a priority? So I want to tell you a little story because this is an example of me not having the time to do something. So a few weeks ago, I had gotten in my car. We were heading to a hockey tournament in Spokane, and it was like 5 in the morning. It was a Sunday, and I get in my car, and my tire sensor is on, and I'm like, this is not the time for this to go on, right? And so I check out the tires. All the tires looked fine, but for some reason the tire sensor was on. Well, nothing's open in Pendleton at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So we start heading into Hermiston. Anyway, get air in the tire. It's my back rear left tire. Get some air in the tire, and we head to Spokane. Tire sensor didn't go back on for like 3 days. I had told Steve about it, and he was like, "You need to go and get that checked. You need it fixed like right away." And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it." Meanwhile, every 3 days, I go and get air in the tire at the gas station before I'm heading to Tri Cities or doing whatever. So for most of you know that I have two kids that play hockey in Tri Cities. Tri Cities is about 70 miles away from where we live. And so we're driving there 3 to 4 days a week. I have a day job, and so I work 40 hours a week in my day job. And then I also have a business that currently I'm running, obviously. And so for someone that doesn't have time, like that is literally me. I pretty much have every single hour down to the T scheduled with what I'm doing. I even schedule in like my family time. So anyway, so for me to go get my tire fixed, it's like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. Well, Steve was hunting during this time. And I told him I'd go get it fixed. And I just kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. So one night coming home from practice in Tri-Cities, as we pull into the driveway, I literally like kind of feel whatever was in my tire, I feel it like release. And I get out of the car and it's just like, shh. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And Steven was home now. And I go in the house. I'm like, hey, I'm definitely need to get that tire fixed tomorrow. And he's like, well, he's like, you didn't get the tire fixed? I'm like, no, not yet. I just need it filled, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he goes out there and he literally like just sits and watch it just like all the way flat, right? And so of course he was upset with me because he told me to get it fixed like 2 weeks prior. And so I was just like, I don't have time. I don't have time. Well, then the next day, I went and I got the tire fixed, and then I ended up having to get all new tires anyway later on. But I got the tire fixed, and I did it like before my first patient or before my first kid that I had to see. So when it comes to saying that you don't have time, when it's a priority, you will make time. So it was not a priority for me to get that tire fixed until it was completely flat and I was stranded. And then I had to make it a priority. And so the whole reason I'm talking about this is because I don't want you guys, especially you women, to wait until wait and wait and wait and wait to make your health or your self-care a priority. I don't want you to wait until like you can't wait anymore. You need to make it a priority now. Unless that's not something that you want to work on. But I'm here to like treat injuries and help women with their health and wellness. So that's what I'm here for. And a lot of women, they put off their self-care, they put off their mindset, they put off their workouts, they put off eating right, they put off all that stuff because they're putting everyone else ahead of them, right? And so I want you to start rethinking about the fact that it's not that you don't have time, but you're not making it a priority. You're not making yourself a priority. Just like I didn't make the tire a priority. In my husband's mind, that was a huge priority for good reason. I could have blown out a tire on the freeway with all three of our kids in the car and could have, injured us. It was stupid. Like it was stupid on my part. But I didn't think it was a priority for me because I'm like, it's a slow leak. It'll be fine, right? I've got all these other things doing that are more priority for me in my eyes, right? So I don't want you to do the same thing with your health or with your health, really. That's what it is. So if you've got like this achy pain in your shoulders or your back or your ankle or something just keeps like nagging at you, but you keep putting it off because you're like, oh, it's just going to go away. It'll be fine. Like, I don't want you doing that. I want you calling me and coming in for a total body diagnostic because we can see, especially if you're like into, I posted a day ago about the winter sports, like we have winter sports coming. And if you've got those nagging pains, aches and pains, and you're just ignoring them, and then you go do your sport, you could be setting yourself up for injury. My women out there my women over 40 that you just keep putting everyone ahead of you and not putting yourself in the forefront, something's going to happen. And then you're not going to be able to focus on anything else but yourself at that point. And then it's going to really hit the fan, right? And so I don't want you guys waiting to your last minute. I don't want you waiting to start working out until you get an injury. I don't want you waiting to start eating better until you have high blood pressure or diabetes. You want to start now. You want to make yourself and your health a priority now. And because the excuse of like not having time, like it literally is an excuse, right? And so for those of you that are like, well, my health's not a priority right now, that's fine. Like it's not a priority, but don't say that you don't have time to work on yourself because you do. You make the time, right? You manage your activities. There's so many other things that you probably do throughout the day or that we can do throughout the day that we're wasting time. Like I could have been getting my tire fixed and I'm like, hey, I got to catch up on my Manifest on Netflix or whatever, right? So you can make the time, you can manage your activities and you can make more time because you'd be surprised how much time you waste. So I'm rambling, but time is not an excuse to not get things done. So what I want you to start saying to yourself, if you catch yourself saying, I don't have time, I want you to say, this is not a priority. I don't have time to go to the gym. Going to the gym is not a priority for me. And if that sits well with you, then great. It sits well with you. That's great. But if it makes you feel icky, what I want you to do is I want you to get your calendar out and I want you to start time blocking some times in your week that you can go to the gym. Okay. I don't have time to food prep. Food prepping is not a priority for me. That's what I want you to change the wording to, right? If that sits well with you, great. If it makes you feel icky, I want you to sit down and I want you to time block some time in your calendar to food prep for the week or food prep for 3 days or whatever. Like you'd be surprised how much time you actually can find in a day, in a week. Okay. And people with injuries, if you have an injury that has been nagging you, find some time in your calendar, call me, let's get you in for a total body diagnostic, see if physical therapy is an option for you. If it is, we can set aside time for an evaluation. I can give you stuff to work on your own. Okay, and then you can come see me when you need to. Okay, I hope this was helpful. So instead of saying I don't have time, say it's not a priority. Okay, because there's things that are in our lives that are not priorities, right? Me serving on the PTA, I love my kids, not a priority. I'll do things though. I will do things, but going and volunteering in the classroom, it's not my jam. But anyway, so I hope this was helpful. Moms, you know, I love you guys and I want what's best for you. I am guilty of not self-care, so I don't want you to make the same mistakes I have. And take care. All right. Bye-bye.